We have Rick Ellis with us.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
That's
How are
me.
you?
Yeah. Hi.
It's you, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm Melissa Gard.
Yeah.
And Rick, you have served many roles, not just with the Acting Ensemble, but with theater, within the theater community here and other places. So first of all, thank you for your time tonight
Sure.
in talking with me. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. And thank you for wearing your mask.
Thank you.
So one of the things that, when I think about Rick Ellis, one of the things that I think about is the whole idea of Stageworks. And you started Stageworks in this community, correct?
Well, not the idea of staged readings, but the series, an ongoing series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about how that idea came to be reality?
Back at another theater 20 or so years ago, there were, and even before that, so long before, I wouldn't take credit for everything, but there are a lot of playwrights, local playwrights, in this community. There's a lot of talent in this community, unbelievable amounts of talent. And I was asked to be involved with a small week series of staged readings 20 years ago, I think 2000. And it was every night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 on Friday. There was a prime time and then a late night, and 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday afternoon.
Wow, that's ambitious.
It was every night was a different play.
Wow.
And 2 on Friday and 2 on Saturday, 2 different plays. We had different directors for every single play. We had a lot of plays that were either, 2 of them were by local playwrights, and the rest were plays that you wouldn't typically see produced in the area because either it was too difficult technically, or the content just didn't merit a full production. For whatever reason, it was a play that somebody liked. Even if some people didn't like it, there was a play that some people liked, and so we wanted it to be heard by somebody. And you could buy a pass to all of them, see all of them at once, or all of them for the week, or you could pay, I think it was $5 per night, and it was quite successful. And so I had nagged at the executive director for probably 8 or 9 years to continue. I said that it should be done once a year. Well, as years passed, I think there were a couple of local playwrights that wanted their plays read, which is a very important part of writing plays.
Yes.
Is to get that feedback from the audience and to hear actors say the words that you're writing. And again, there's a lot of plays that are not typically done in this area because it either pushes the envelope a little bit too much, more than the audience, the community would allow, or because it's some classic that is typically not done outside of academia. But should be. I mean, community theaters should do the works that are outside of universities as well. So finally, this other theater, the executive director said, okay, let's do it. Let's start planning a series. I don't think it was a monthly series, but it was, let's pick 6 shows to do throughout one season. And so the wheels were in motion. And unfortunately, that executive director left, and another one took his place, and everything just
It kind of went by the wayside.
Yeah.
So, and then Acting Ensemble began to do them. We came back to
It was
life.
about a year later that the Acting Ensemble mounted the Tiernan Affair.
Yeah, that would
in
be 2010, right?
And it was at that time, I was asked, I think many people who were involved with with the acting ensemble. I still consider myself being an active member of the acting
But you
ensemble.
are.
Yeah. And I like to think of myself as one of the oldest.
You're one of the
Because
originals.
I was in the second production that the ensemble ever did in 1982. And then I missed a few years, and I did several after that. So yeah, I was delighted to be asked back in 2010 to. I mean, there's so many theaters in this area.
Yeah.
Can you believe
It's
it?
amazing and
I
wonderful.
mean, years ago there
Yeah.
was what, South Bend Civic and Elkhart Civic and
the one in Michiana.
Osceola Players.
Players, yeah.
and Prez Players.
Press players.
And that was about it. And then they sort of popped up. A few popped up, a couple broke off into different groups, and that's how the acting ensemble got started.
Right.
Was someone wanting to do something that wouldn't be done at one theater, so they left and did it themselves.
Right. We've kind of followed that suit ever since, I believe.
Yeah.
At the acting ensemble.
Yeah. So when we remounted, when the ensemble was put back together in 2010, I started to talk to Jim Giesel and Lori Wright at the time about the possibility of doing a series of staged readings. And much like the other theater's executive director who said, "Oh yeah, great, just as long as I don't have to have anything to do with it. I'll sign the checks, just don't make me get involved." And I got that same thing from Jim and Lori. Was like, "Great, go for it. Just go, plan it, produce it, whatever." Years ago, shortly after I moved back from Chicago in about 97, 98, somewhere in there, I started to have play reading in my home.
I remember that.
And we invited friends. This happened every single Sunday night in our home. And we had just invited friends, and in the winter we'd be in the family rooms. We'd all have a part to play, and we'd all sit down and read a script. And in the summer we'd be out on the deck, and it was just a great social time. But also we got to hear plays that we didn't normally hear, or we didn't normally read. And plays were a little hard, not so hard to get, but you had to order them from dramatists
Right.
and. And it
takes
wasn't
a
like
minute.
you couldn't
Yeah.
just jump online now like you
Right.
can now.
Right.
So I have always had this love of just listening to the plays as well and having people read them. So I was excited about getting people together to do some reading in 2010, and I sat down with three other friends or two others and. Went through a series of plays that we had always wanted to hear, but wouldn't necessarily be produced in the area. And we put together a style of a reading season that we thought would facilitate 12 whole months, one each month of the year. And so we wanted to do a series of classic plays, a series of locally written plays, and a series of plays that were fairly new, but either the rights to produce it were not available, or it wouldn't be done in South Bend. I mean, one in particular, The Goat, I don't think has been done by Edward Albee. I don't think has been done anywhere in this area, and it was on our first season of readings. It was plays that we really wanted to do. We put together the season, and another part of putting together a season of readings was that I could call on some close friends that I thought were highly talented. We have an enormous amount of talent in this community.
It's amazing.
And it's hard to get people to work because they're working, or
Right.
I mean, aside from this is prior to the pandemic, but they're working, or they've got families, or they don't want to commit to 6 to 8 weeks of rehearsal and performances, and
Or they
so,
can't memorize.
or they can't memorize anymore. Some of our older people too, or whomever. But I was really excited about that. In fact, some of the first few people that I talked to, who were also playwrights but also very good actors, I spoke specifically to them because I wanted to get them involved on stage as well as be a part of the series. And they had the time to do it. 2 to 3 rehearsals, and pop, you're up on stage,
Right.
and it's done.
Yeah.
It's very easy to accommodate. And then there's another aspect of that is that in some of the theaters in this community, we see a lot of the same directors. Sometimes at a certain theater, you might have the same, 3 or 4 directors every year. And it's difficult to get new directors in unless you are right out of college, a good college, that you've taken some directing or you've been through directing workshops. It's very difficult. Most of the theaters in town, they require you to work as an assistant director with a veteran director, and so the staged readings allowed us to get people who were a little green at directing as well.
Give them a chance to kind of...
Yeah, without the whole production aspects of it, to either work on the characters or get a little blocking here and there. So it wasn't as demanding as a full production.
So theater people are not known for sitting quietly on their hands and waiting things out.
Right? To finish what you had asked, I'm sorry. I was chomping at the bit, but now I'm like, I don't really want to. But one thing I really miss is that I have for many years had season tickets to theaters here in town, as at Notre Dame and Chicago. I've had this year. I had 3 sets of season tickets, and all 3 of them have canceled everything. Yeah. And I miss that more than anything, because I miss being a patron more than directing or acting or any of it.
Well, as soon as we can, we'll be back on our feet.
Yeah.
We're reaching forward.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it won't be long.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Soon.
Yes, soon, very soon. And until then, my friend, take care.
Thanks very much. Thanks.
Thank you.